Hi everyone, I'm Angie,
And I'm Shawn.
and we thought we'd do a little video to share more about Wonderland with you.
Yep.
So, what is the purpose of this video? Why would we like to share more about this amazing place that we're at right now?
Great question. So this is Wunderland Resort in Old Fort, North Carolina. And we are in the developmental stage right now. So we bought this beautiful piece of property 6 months ago. We've been in permitting, civil engineering and all that. And really, there's a lot of lessons to be learned through this process. And my number one goal of making this video is so people don't make the mistakes that we made, because you waste time and you waste money, and it's any development has a lot of hurdles. And so for the resort in particular, I want to help people.
So, with that in mind, who should you already have on your team before finding land? Before you start looking for land?
Good question. So I think before you even start looking for land, your commercial realtor is probably the first person. My commercial realtor was someone who had a civil engineering background, so that was really helpful because he was, able to guide me a little bit. And then basically, where we are, this is all septic and well for water and sewer. So having someone who is a complete expert in wastewater management, for septic and wastewater management, is totally key, because you're going to want to, we can dive into this more later, but you're going to want to know exactly what you can do with septic on your property before you.
Would that be a land planner?
Well, land planner is definitely on that list too. And the reason why that's important, the land planner, is, if you don't have the ability to see the vision of what could be at this property, that's the land planner's job, to work with that land planner to take your vision and the property and kind of marry them together.
So a year ago, when we happened to come and look at this piece of property,
Yeah.
how do you know the place is the place? And then what do you do once you find the place that feels right?
Yeah. So I had my checklist. My checklist was, we're in Western North Carolina, so it's completely mountainous. So the checklist was, I don't want to be on the side of a mountain, but we want some views, some mountain views. We don't want to be in a floodplain, because a lot of times if you're in lowland, you're in a valley and you're in a floodplain. And then I didn't want to clear a bunch of trees. The part of this resort is a focus on sustainability from a developmental standpoint, and really like conscious development. So, we got lucky, and a lot of this was already cleared because it was a cattle pasture, and it wasn't fertilized, which was another thing on my checklist. So finding a farm, is amazing unless it's been heavily fertilized.
Yeah, things to think about.
Yeah, definitely things to think about.
So once you find the land, what is the next step that you do?
Well, the due diligence process, we did 3 months, maybe we did 4 months with a 1-month extension. But during that due diligence period, I think we put down like $5,000 to hold the property and go through the due diligence, which was, again, back to septic, like my favorite thing in the world. Figuring out if, we did borings, which is like a hole in the ground, to check the soil content to make sure it would perk and accept septic. Had I known what I know now, I would have done test pits, which is the excavator digging out a 3 foot by 4 foot by 4 foot deep pit.
Where did the budget come in
For that?
Around this time? Did you revisit the budget to make sure that, after you had to talk to all these people?
Well, yeah, really good point. So, we did the budget before, a year before we found the property, in hopes of finding the right property where we could do this plan, right? What I did was I modeled a piece of property that I liked. I found a piece of property, went to see it. I'm like, this isn't it, but I'm going to take this one and say, okay, what could we do with this one? And I created a model, both like a visual model, so you could see like the cabins and you could do the layout and everything. And then I created a business plan and a financial model for that. So that kind of like, otherwise it was just, you're just kind of guessing at things. So even though that property didn't work, it was still cool to have that model so that when we got here and we found this one, I was able to just plug numbers in and unplug numbers and, have, but yeah, having the budget and having a business plan before you get the property, I think is a must, especially if you're going to a lender, because, we have a 35-page business plan, including our marketing plan.
When it comes to due diligence,
Yeah.
what's the goal of due diligence?
Yeah, certainly.
Like, is there a goal, or is it just?
Yeah, will this property work for what I want to do, really? And for me, that was like making sure there was, again, number one is septic. Number two was making sure there was no wetlands. So we did a wetlands and stream delineation, which is about $5,000. And the engineers come out and make sure that there's no wetlands. Now we have, obviously, the pond and everything, and all that stuff's marked, and but you can't build in wetlands.
Yeah.
So,
and you were particular about the due diligence because I think they were coming to you and saying, I think this should be it, and you were very particular. Like, you're like, no, I want it to be like this, and
Right.
this is why.
Right. And the zoning was the other thing on my checklist. Just take a step back. So this is open zoning, or really no zoning, which means you could do commercial, residential, hospitality. You could kind of do whatever you want here. So that was a big one. That is the reason we looked here in Old Fort, McDowell County. We're just outside of Old Fort in the county, and there's no zoning. Not to say you can do whatever you want. There's still state requirements, and you still have to abide by all the wetlands and the DNR stuff. So back to the due diligence. So it's septic. It's making sure there's no liens on the property and stuff like that. Just title work. Making sure I could get insurance. It took me months to get insurance. Just calling around all the different people, and going to that glamping show helped because I called people from there. We met people there. Trying to think, was there anything else that the due diligence? I extended the due diligence 1 month, and I think I paid another few $1,000s to do that, which went towards the purchase price.
Yeah. Did the
So that was
appraisal
fine.
have anything to do with that?
Oh, right. That was the other big part. So the appraiser, which was about, I think it was 3,500 or maybe 4,000. So my lender worked with this appraiser, BBG, I think it was, and they took my business plan. They took all my pictures, my site plan that I had drawn up, and then they came here and they walked it, and they said, okay, this is going to be worth X amount of dollars when you're done, which gave the lender the ability to prove it. Otherwise, there's no way.
Did that have anything to do when it came to financing and